Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Two weeks have passed this season, and it's produced two Grand Chelums, an award given for qualifying in pole, leading every lap, having the fastest lap of the race, and taking first. Eddie Samborski has been truly dominant. But today we visit a brand new circuit, not only to the Formula Renault 3.5 Championship, but to iRacing. It's reset everything. No historic knowledge or action has gone before, and the drivers have a brand new challenge at this circuit, nestling at the foothills of Mount Fuji. Welcome. It's time on Apex Racing TV for round 3 of the Formula Renault 3.5 Championship. I am Tim Cox. We've got Sam Fitzpatrick and John Robertson in the production booth. But right now, as always, I'm joined by Seb Bosher-Williams. Seb, a brand new circuit to not only ourselves as commentators, but also as racers, but also the drivers to get their head around. And I can tell you for one thing, qualifying it's just about getting it's underway now. It's the drivers have been out early doors to cram in their laps, and well, at the moment, I think it's normal service resuming, looking to make it 3 pole positions in a row, a queen sweep so far this season. Eddie Samborski is at the front. Macias, the Iberian, currently in second. He's just going to cross the line. Is it going to be an improvement for him? Yes, it is. But well, I was going to say it's not good enough for pole, but only just 600ths of a second behind Samborski, the flying American. I get the feeling we're in for yet again another classic here in Formula Renault 3.5.
I certainly think we are, Tim. Good evening to everybody at home. And yeah, I'm absolutely shocked, to be honest, by the gap between Samborski and Sergio Macias, or actually the lack of a gap, really. Only 0.06 of a second. I think the by far the tightest margin that Samborski has had over his pole position. So yeah, really interesting. Is Samborski feeling the pressure of the new track? I really like what you said in your intro, Tim. You know, there is no information. No driver has driven here in the Formula 3.5 at any official series. They've got no data. They've got no idea of what they're going to expect. And, you know, everybody, including us as commentators, are going into this race, into the unknown. And that's, to be honest, exactly, you know, what we as fans and as drivers love, because it just gives you that excitement, that, you know, that freshness. And it's going to be an absolutely amazing race, as you say. But yeah, I think we're going to see drivers really learn on the fly. And yeah, watch out for that, because I think we're going to see drivers making more mistakes than maybe necessarily they would have done at a track that they know slightly better.
Slightly smaller grid here today because we've got 14 drivers due to there's 28 drivers registered for the race tonight, and of course only 25 allowed to take to the grid, so split in 2. So hence why we've got slightly lower numbers, but we saw it last season and we've seen it this season as well, of course, last time out at Imola. And less drivers does not mean less action at all. Plenty of drama, plenty of excitement, frills and spills. Well worth tuning in for the last few laps of Imola last week. If you haven't seen it, go back and take a look. Some amazing stuff being pulled off there, including a crazy connection with the wall where a driver getting himself lodged on there and managing to unhook themselves by driving along it. It's one of the few times I've been speechless in commentary, and well, it's something I've never seen before. Well worth checking out. It's also on our social media as well. You can find us on Twitter, where we are at Apex Racing TV. Facebook is facebook.com/Apex Racing TV. And of course, Instagram, you can search for Apex Racing TV, funnily enough, on there as well, and find us to pick up plenty of clips and keep up to date with what's happening on the channel. But let's take a look at the grid. So Samborski, as I mentioned, taking pole. Sergio Macias joining him on the front row. Jason C, he's on the second row with Marcos Alcaron. Morgan Keane is joined by Rob Bohr on the third row of the grid. Jorge Lopez has Ben Holco for company on the fourth row, with Jamie Byrne and Miguel Crespo making up the fifth row, rounding out the top 10. It's an all-American sixth row with James Byrne behind Jamie. Directly on the grid, Omar Bahab. Of course, strong result last time out. Finished on the podium in third, starting all the way down in 12th. Dennis Corley, the flying Frenchman, well down in 13th. Shane Lambert is joining in for company on the last row of the grid. Just waiting the last few drivers to grid up, and we'll be away here at Fuji. Of course, known for its massive start-finish straight. Expect to see plenty of slipstreaming all the way down there. I mean, we've got the straight here is nearly as long as Not Kill in its entirety. The small, tight technical circuit in Scotland. On the last driver, and then we will be away. But oh boy, missing the start sign for the pits, and here come the lights. Let's get ready to go racing in Fuji for the first time ever in Formula Renault 3.5. And what a start from Samborski. Macias caught napping there off the start line. Jason Sieg getting a great launch as well as we race down to turn 1. The field bunching up there as we come through turn 1 for the first time, and this is where the course gets technical. Opens up through turn 2, down to turn 3, Coca-Cola corner. The action not getting fizzy at all, practically flat. That's what they're going to want here in these opening stages. Everyone trying to keep themselves alive, thinking of a long game, but there's a bit of argy-bargy in the midfield there. Morgan Keane and Ben Holko going side by side as they round the hairpin. Turn 6 through turn 7, 8, in towards 9, 300R, arcing round, providing plenty of side-by-side action. These two still won't leave alone, and Keane has had to succumb to Holko. Holko up an incredible 3 places on the opening lap, and we haven't even got the start-finish straight. How are the drivers going to use the 8 available DRSs, Seb? Do you go early? Do you try and make the jump on your opponent? Or do you save them up to the end? There's a bit of compacting going up near the front there. Sieg, Macias and Alcron all over each other. It's like a load of bees around honey hive as they all swarm together. But Samborski, 1.5 seconds already at the end of lap 1. Out the front, Alcron pulling out of the slipstream. But Sieg is giving a massive toe to Macias, but he's boxed in. He can't find a way out. He has to back out of it. And Sieg is going to lose a place to Alcron, who makes up 2 places, yes, 2, on the start-finish straight. And Sieg is going to lose another one because Macias is firmly on the attack as we head through turn 2 and into Coca-Cola corner, and Sieg's just about hold on to it by the skin of his teeth there, Seb. What a start here in Fuji.
What a start. Certainly, I mean, Samborski has had his one end of the scale. Absolutely a mega start, already up to 2 seconds ahead of Alcron in second, and Macias, after starting on the front row, down in 4th place, not getting the start that he would have wanted, to just playing on too much wheel spin. Having a look at Sieg as we head into Dunlop corner, can't find a way through, and if anything, Holko now on the back of Sergio Macias, our number 2 car. He has the second highest iRating of any of the drivers out there, but unable to show that pace at the moment in the earliest stages of the race. You make a really interesting point, Tim. What are the drivers going to do with their DRS uses? And I think their DRS uses are going to have to be, at the end of the race. They can't afford to be sort of using them without gaining their full effect. We've only got 8 in the entire race, and the straight is so long. I really like that fact that you mentioned about Not Kill being, almost the straight almost as long as Not Kill. Just goes to show how important it is to make sure that you maximise the straight. Use your DRS, and I think that we'll see many drivers playing it very tactically, waiting until as we head deeper into the race, and maybe even using them on 8 consecutive laps towards the end. I think that is going to be the fastest strategy for our drivers today.
Let's find out. It's a bit of an unknown, isn't it? As I mentioned before qualifying, I've never visited here before. It's a brand new track to iRacing. I only came along at the start of the season, so 3 weeks we've had it now. The driver's so laser focused on the opening 2 rounds. Of course, Imola last time out, and we kickstarted the season here in Japan at Suzuka. Tell you what, we've got 3 Japanese rounds. We're also at Twin Ring, 4 apologies, Okayama in 4 weeks, so 3 weeks time, and then another 3 weeks after that we're at Twin Ring Motegi. I've never seen so many Japanese rounds in one calendar, but Formula Renault 3.5 going all in here with all the Japanese circuits, well, exception of Tsukuba. Now that could be an interesting one to see, trying to clumsily get these cars around. And definitely a patch not made in heaven whatsoever, but it is in one long slipstream train. We run on board now with Miguel Crespo, the Australian, trying to find some play pass moving out there, obviously not able to get past. He knows that, but what he's doing, Seb, correct me if I'm wrong, just moving around the mirrors, just trying to disrupt Jorge Lopez, the Spaniard in front of him, trying to put him off his braking zone and his turn-in markers.
Well, that's exactly what he's doing. He's trying to use the drivers ahead sort of peripheral vision to their disadvantage, get in the mirrors, distract them, move around, make them think that you're about to send one to the inside and to the inside. It's such a classic move, but there's a flip side to it, and you can really start to lose pace and overwork your tyres, and there's all sorts of difficulties that you can encounter if you start doing that too much. There's I think it was Mark Webber once said, you know, there's no point in doing all of that. You just got to stay behind them and only sort of start looking when you can guarantee that you can make the pass. And I quite like that school of thought. Our drivers, though, certainly going for the more disruptive school of thought. Not there on the track at the moment, but yeah, these drivers are at such a caliber where you almost need to be able to do that, just disrupt them, try and find any ways. That's a car going very sideways on the final corner.
That was Ben Holko there, Seb, just nearly losing it there, coming out of the final corner, just to just collect himself. But he's going to be under threat now. Keen right into slipstream. You see Holko moving across there to cover off Keen into turn one. And doesn't stop Keen having a bit of a look, trying to run it around the outside, trying to disrupt Holko, get him off line. Australia versus America. As they head now through Coca-Cola, round 100R. It's a triple apex corner effectively. Makes it turns 4 and 5. Then down into 6. This tight left-handed, the hairpin. Before we then open up the taps through 7, 8, 9 being 300R, then into Dunlop corner, where it gets tight and technical and fiddly this circuit once again. Almost a little bit clumsy, reminiscent for me of Hislop's at Alton Park, this part of the circuit, or maybe even the final corners at Barcelona, maybe, Seb, where in the modern circuit you've got that chicane.
I think you're perfectly right. It certainly reminds me a lot of the Barcelona circuit. You've got the high curves, you can't go anywhere near the curves, and just like Barcelona, it kind of encourages you to try and go side by side, but any move that you even attempt through the chicane is almost certainly going to end in one driver ending up backwards. And even, you know, we've seen in other series here on the Apex Racing TV YouTube channel, drivers actually flying through the air, through the contactors. That's Macias once again looking, trying to distract Sieg, under braking into turn 1. Alacron's the one, though, to crack under pressure. He runs a little bit wide on the exit. As we have a look, and this is what Ben Holko did, and you could just see how much time he lost him after making that mistake. Too much accelerator, too much torque demand, as Martin Brundle would so eloquently put it. And then through the final corner, we can have a look, and he's so lucky, Tim, to actually avoid those yellow curves on the outside of the track. If you hit them, if you even look at them a little bit wrong, they will damage your car and ruin your race. So he did very good there to not end up having some sort of major accident.
It's interesting there, Sam. I don't know if you can quite catch it, but it's almost like a channel built into the edge of the curves, where you see it sort of from that angle where they're relatively flat, then all of a sudden there's like a really sharp angled curve. And I wonder if that's what Holko caught to send him out of control there. I mean, held it incredibly well. If it had been me, I would have purchased a one-way ticket to the barrier on the inside, and that would have been race over. You can see Holko in the background there, moving around, trying to break the slipstream change. Left, right, left. It's like trying to do the Macarena down the start-finish straight, and it's going to take a lot of weaving because here comes Keen. You can't break the slipstream into the braking zone. Crespo runs in a little bit deep. You see him just a couple of cars back there. We've also got, well, actually, I'll tell you what, Crespo, I think, did he lose a place there even potentially to Jorge Lopez, who's on the attack, the Spaniard, having a cracking little race so far. Holko, despite that, Seeks ran in too deep there. He's looking to harm him. It's allowed Sergio Macias through, and also giving a bit of a gap now to Marcos Alacron in second place, having to hold on to that. These two are going to be out of slipstream range of the Iberian in second. And needs to work together. It has pulled them back into Holko, though, who is on the cusp of being in slipstream range. Now Sieg has fallen behind Macias and into that, filling that void that was between Holko and Macias, only on the lap prior. But Samborski already taking new fastest lap of the race. First driver into the 125s, 125.6 for him. As close as was Omicron. 126 dead. Well, they did give him the 125s with 125.98, but that was deleted for track limits. You see Holko beginning the weaving fest here as they weave and slalom and wave their way down the start-finish straight, but it's not going to be enough. Such is the length of it that Keane has got the move done into turn 1. You can't deny the inevitable, and Keane was coming through. Holko had to succumb, but he's going to be tucked in behind the American. And now these guys need to work together realistically. If they want to catch up to the two Iberians ahead of them and Sieg, the Australian, and they need to work together. But we know racing drivers like Seb. You more so than myself. Oh, Holko's lost it in this contact. He's made contact there with Lopez. Oh, and off goes James Byrne there as well. Holko stranded in the middle of the track. Engine cover's gone. Bent front ring. I think that could be his race done and dusted.
Yeah, that's certainly going to be terminal damage. As we have a look at a replay, and this is Ben Holko's on board, so he comes through the left-hander. It's just going to get on the curb once again, lights up the rear tyres, gets collected by the car behind. And actually, it was one of the Byrne drivers, James Byrne, didn't even make contact with Holko, just got onto the grass, and simply the rear tyres just lost grip, and around he went, as we can ride on board from James Byrne's perspective. He sees Holko with that amazing spin in flight, and yeah, in avoidance, hits the grass, no grip out there.
There's like a little divot. It was hard to spot. There's a bump in the grass, and that is what Byrne caught, and that's what sent him spinning off, and it really unsettled the car. And you can see from, as Byrne nearly loses it again there. His tyres are going to be cooked to within an inch of their life in terms of their temperature. It's going to take a couple of laps for them to come back towards him, but that's not going to help him whatsoever because he is trying to hunt down Bohr, who's 1.4 seconds up the road. And he needs to just settle down, get back into his groove. The Jaeger Racing driver, as there is Holko up on the stands. New tyres. Takes front ring, but there's still no engine cover on that car. It's going to hamper his straight line speed, I would imagine, there, Seb, and that's so crucial around Fuji.
It's absolutely essential, and you might be surprised by that. We were hearing from the drivers last time that the setup of choice was a high downforce setup, but it makes it ever more crucial, in fact, that you need that ability to have the straight line speed. I'm surprised if Holko doesn't have some form of steering damage or any other damage. Actually, he took quite a fair whack as he came in contact with the ground once again. Morgan Keane coming under pressure from Jorge Lopez just manages just to see off the challenges. Side by side we have Byrne and Baha. Baha just conceding the place at the moment. So Jamie Byrne up to 8th place, Baha down to 9th. But we saw, as you pointed out, Tim, Baha had such a great return to the series last time out 1 week ago. Was, I think, 2nd at Imola, but not being able to show the pace I think that we would have expected him to have so far this round. But the race is long, still 16 laps to go. Anything can happen. We've seen drivers make mistakes, be sent down the order, and we even saw, as you again said, Tim, we've seen drivers actually embedded in the wall at the end of last race. So anything can happen in the Formula 3.5 series, and I quote Murray Walker, anything will happen. As there's a lock up there for somebody as we head through the Dunlop chicane. We're going to get away with that for now, but not going to be helping your tyre wear one bit. You've all got to be cautious of how you treat your tyres. Baha, though, looking to get past Byrne once again. Jamie Byrne having to come under pressure, and it's the role reversal, Tim. 1 lap ago it was Baha in the lead. This time Jamie Byrne's cutting a hole through the air. I think Omar Baha is going to try and get past him ASAP.
Wow, you can feel this one brewing, can't you? In the slipstream, Even got to the start-finish line. It's been such a long run as he pulls out. This is gonna be the move. He's got the inside line. Just in the background there, Cornu going defensive. This isn't quite done, and does it? Because I tell you what, Byrne fighting back here is Jamie Byrne, and in the end decides just to tuck back in. Doesn't want to lose too much time here for this next, well, continuous pretty much set of corners through Coca-Cola. Round 130 are there. That was Suzuka. Of course, we were there earlier in the season, but 100 are into the hairpin, out of there through all of these kinks that actually make up corners. 7, 8, 9, and then into the big braking zone. That is Dunlop corner. Turn 10. Pretty much turning right back on yourself before you flip the car left again through 11, and then 12, and then into 13 and 14. It's corner after corner. Turn 15, that's Net's corner. And then around this long, arcing final corner. Turn 16, Panasonic corner. Before you open the car up, get on the accelerator, and look at what Baja has done already. Already a second clear in the space of a lap. Really pedal to the metal. I know when we spoke to Eddie Samborski after the last race, he was saying that he's really happy that Baja has returned to the championship. He said he was a quick guy. Well, definitely being caught out here by the newer track to iRacing. There's Morgan Keane here. Well, caught in a bit of a battle with Lopez. There's likewise Seek and Massey as well. I haven't seen an overtaking move done around the outside there, but Jason Seek says, hold my beer. Watch this. And what a move from the Aussie.
Yeah, we've really come to expect that from Jason Seek, just going to show his absolute credentials at the wheel of the Formula 3.5 car. But I'll tell you what, Macias not happy being overtaken there. You always sort of feel it a little bit more personally when it's in a place that you didn't expect, when, you know, you sort of think that the driver can never make it around there, so you don't even sort of think about defending, and then they do. It really sort of hurts your pride. So, you know, Macias is going to have even more of an invested interest to get past Jason Seek, but at the moment, Seek just running away with it as we head through the final twisty sector of the track, and we head through turn 16, Panasonic corner onto the back straight. Seek almost has a second gap between him and Macias, and if anything, Macias is almost the same distance away from Seek as Keane is away from himself. So I think Macias is going to have to start looking in the mirrors more than looking up ahead. Is, yeah, Seek. Actually, did Macias make some form of mistake on the last lap, Tim? He did a 1:28 flat compared to Seek's 26.5. So I wonder if Macias just had some form of mistake, maybe locked up into turn 1, because that's an unusually slow time from the Iberian. He's been absolutely rapid so far today.
He has indeed.
Oh, he's off the track.
Oh no, it's all starting to fall apart. I mean, that's gonna. I tell you what, Seb. If he's not careful, he's going to get right into the clutches and slipstream range of Keane and Lopez right behind them. Well, there you go. You see visually what the gap is there. 8 tenths to the second, which is within range. Now, if Keane can hold on, and if Lopez is compliant as well, then these guys can work together, haul in Macias to their fight, and they're nearly there already. Macias just maybe licking his wounds a little bit from those couple of mistakes, trying to get back into his groove, back into his flow. And this is gonna get tasty. This is where it gets interesting. Will Keane use one of his 8 available DRSs down the long start finish straight on this lap? Let's find out. Keep one out. There you go. It's popped close. Keane is in full attack mode. Here he comes as he chases down the Iberian Macias. You can see the overspeed he's got. And wow, he's going to get it done before the pits exit has even come about. There you go. Morgan Keane up into 4th, and Macias cannot defend it. He does not stand a chance, but he's going to try and fight back, getting a great corner exit there when he was on the racing line into turn 1. But Keane's got it all covered off, and he's held on to that 4th place, and Macias now needs to concentrate on his mirrors because Jorge Lopez is going to slip it up the inside there. Wow, what a move from the Spaniard.
Macias must have some form of damage to the underbody of his car. His pace is just fallen away.
Seb, I can see. So I just clocked on his left side pod. There's what looks like paint missing or a bit of a scuff. Now that infers he has got floor damage. There you go. You can see it on the camera angle now. Those grey patches. There you go. You might be able to see in the bottom right corner, just your camera angle there. But so that's what's hurting him, isn't it? It really affects when the floor is damaged, Seb. It really affects the way the car handles.
It does. If anybody has sort of kept up with Formula One this year, you'll be hearing all about ground effects, and it's the same premises. You want, you know, a clean surface that the air can go underneath the car and suck the car to the floor. And when that is, you know, it is compromised in any way, it would be if it's been damaged, if it's been bent in some way, it's going to affect your pace massively. I mean, it's not uncommon to, if you sort of gain floor damage, even minor floor damage, to lose in the order of half to a full second per lap. So yeah, Macias really in dire straits at the moment. He's not really going to be able to come into the pits. It's just not economical in terms of time. You're going to lose so much time coming in to the pits. It's such a long straight here that there's no point. He's just got to stick it out, see if he can gain any positions through incidents or anybody else maybe succumbing to a little bit of floor damage. But yeah, Macias is just going to be falling backwards. It's so important, and crucially as well, it can affect the balance of the car. And you know, as a driver, you normally set the car up to the balance of your liking, whether you like it on the nose a little bit, understeery. That's all going to change because, you know, you're not sure what's going to happen when you pick up the damage. And it's also going to start to affect your tyre wear, and it's just this vicious circle. So Macias really not in the best of places at the moment, fallen already off the back of Keane and Lopez, and he hasn't even made it to the straight yet where he's going to feel the effects of the damage the most. But let's look at this. Jorge Lopez right on the wheel tracks of Morgan Keane. I think Morgan Keane's going to come under some pressure down the front straight to him.
He hugs that pit wall, trying to cover off that inside line, but I think it's all in vain because Lopez has his wing, well, closed in fact, not like F1 where it opens up, and Crespo there saying gracias to Macias as he takes place past him. That's now 4 places. Miguel Crespo is up, the Australian, recovering well here and picking up the positions as he's up to 6th now. Work it out though, 2.4 seconds. Well, actually, maybe not 2.3 to Morgan Keane. Ahead of him, currently on lap 16 out of 26, 10 laps to go. Samborski leads. We have hardly mentioned him. We've hardly seen him. He's gone. He's checked out. He's clear at the front. 8 seconds already. That's nearly a second a lap he's managed to pull out over Alarcon, who is no slouch in second. The Iberian, after getting past, well, Macias and C, he's managed to pull out a nice, tasty little advantage there. 2.2 seconds to Jason C, who is into third. Back to where he qualified. There's Jorge Lopez. He's at 3 places in the 4th. Morgan Keane 5th. Crespo 6th. Macias 7th. 8th is Omar Baja. He's at 4 places himself. Joint highest riser with Miguel Crespo in 8th. Jamie Byrne 9th. And then is Rob Bohr down 4 places into 10th. Donis Cornu 11th. 12th is James Byrne. See, after that little excursion and spin, not helped him, and the way he's down the order after what was a strong start from him. Actually, he's just made it past Cornu there, off camera. Shane Lambert, he's 13th, and Ben Holko, well, after that half spin and that contact is really losing out bid time. There's no engine cover on that car, I believe. That's to take to the pits for a new front nose. 16th place, and well off the pace. Gutting for Holko after what was an incredible start. But right on board with Samborski right now. You can get the feeling of just how tight and technical this circuit is. Lots of just, you're on the power briefly and then you're back off it again and slowing the car down. You don't get a chance to wind the car up. It's almost like it saves it all up for this start-finish straight, Seb.
Such a relief when you actually exit turn 16. You can breathe and you can relax because you've been so focused through the final sector, so twisty, and just like Suzuka that we had at the start of the season. One corner really leads into another, so if you get a little bit of understeer, lock a brake into, you know, the first part of the section, you're going to carry that all the way through the sector. And now you have to do it all over again on the brakes into turn 1. And the first sector is relatively straightforward here. At least turn number 3, Coca-Cola corner, is it's mainly a point and squirt corner. You get the fronts hooked up, you hit the apex, and then you can basically hit full throttle. Through 100R we go, and this is where it all starts to change. You've now got to start thinking about placing your car, not necessarily where it's quickest to go through the first corner, or the first corner that you approach, but actually you've got to be thinking 2, 3, even 4 corners ahead of yourself, making sure that you're going to end up on the right piece of track to get the optimal line through the corner, through Dunlop chicane. What an amazing, amazing circuit we have here at Fuji. I'm so glad that iRacing have added it to the roster. One of my favourites. And also, doesn't it go so well, Tim, with the V8s roaring from the Formula 3.5s? It just feels like sort of classic Formula 1. Omar Baha locked down the inside, forcing a mistake there from Macias. Macias, of course, with that wounded car, but look at this. This is the number 9, Jamie Byrne, looking a little bit racy, Tim. Can't make his way through. Macias just falling down the order, and I feel like he's going to be about 2, even 3 places further down in about a lap or 2 time.
A new fastest lap from Samborski, 125.2, and you can see the way that Macias is fighting that car. It just will not turn. And now he knows what's coming. It's Omar Baha. Just breezes up to the back of him, out of the slipstream and through. And Jamie Byrne is coming to make the ordeal even worse. And can Jamie Nose run that's out a bit of track? Well, I tell you what, fighting back is Macias. Oh, all this is done. All this infighting has brought Rob Ball right back into the frame. Currently 10th place. Car number 3. You see him just in the background there. Look at this 4-car train currently headed up by Omar Baha. Up 5 places now into 7th, but you can expect to see him to gallivant away from Macias. Oh, as Jamie Byrne just ran wide there. He's onto the grass, and I think he's got a bit of damage there as well now from that little excursion. That's allowed James Byrne through too. And what was a 4-way fight? It's now become a 2-way fight because Crespo's cleared off at the track, and it's now down to, well, basically Baha and Macias. Well, I say that, but I tell you what, Macias is doing a cracking job of just staying in touch right now with Baha, but I think he's going to be a bit too far back, Seb, to benefit from any slipstream come the start-finish straight. I mean, that gap is at, I tell you what, Macias is really good in the corners despite that damage, and I think he's just going to get a bit of a faint whiff of slipstream off of Crespo. Yes, Baha even, sorry.
I think unfortunately for Macias, I don't think it really matters as we're seeing it play out on our screen. That damage is going to be so affecting his straight line speed, you know, in the order of 5, even 10 kilometers an hour in terms of your VMAX speed. I don't think it even matters, but you know, Jamie Byrne, actually, let's have a look and see what happened to him. He was in this fight, he had a good opportunity. He just seems to get caught out there by Macias's different line. Jamie Byrne now has to do the awkward sort of skip across the grass, touches the curb as well, which sort of straightens the car out in a way that he wouldn't have been expecting, and I'd be surprised if he hasn't picked up some floor damage. Just like Macias, these cars are so sensitive to floor damage. In fact, if anybody gives you any advice about the Formula 3.5s and iRacing, one of the first or second things they'll say is never run wide. It's so dangerous. You can lose so much lap time. There's even on the iRacing forum, there's a whole post about it, you know, saying if you're losing pace, this is probably why, because it's such a, you know, an easy thing to do in these cars. And you know, I think if I'm right in saying this, Macias is at least first race of the season, Tim, so he's just not got that in his mindset of keeping the car alive. And Jamie Byrne there, struggling for any resemblance of grip through turns 14, just manages to get it slowed down. But now his brother James Byrne firmly on the back of Sergio Macias. Macias now looking to fall down to 10th place after starting second on the grid. Had a poor start, but was fighting back after that start, and then picked up the damage, and now he's down in 10th place. An easy move there. Oh, and there's a crash!
Baha caught up there with that was Bohr. That's going to allow Jamie Byrne back through there. He's picked up another place, and Baha was still a cracking race. It's all come undone in a blink of an eye. Let's take a look at the replay. So, ball pulls out the slipstream. All looks good. Down to regulation, down to turn 1. And then, there you go, Seb. Cut back onto the racing line and threw out the anchor right in front of Baha, who loses his front nose. Well, so we're going to see it from Baha's point of view. There you go, so there's the move done. And then he'll tuck straight back in onto the racing line and onto the brakes, and, well, Baha just wasn't expecting it. Looking to brake later and go round the outside and try and reclaim the place, and it all ends in tears.
Yeah, a little bit clumsy down into turn 1. Wouldn't be expecting it from, the drivers of this caliber. It's in Baha's defense, it's really easy to do. As soon as that driver pulls across the front of your car, you lose that front downforce. Everything changes, the balance changes, and I think you're right. He was trying to go around the outside, get the cutback, but yeah, you have to say that you normally say that it's the driver behind who is at fault, and I think, at least in my opinion, Baha needs to lay at least some of the responsibility on his shoulders. Jason Sieg, though, a little bit of traffic at the moment. That's Lambert. He nicely tucks out of the way through 100R as we head towards turn 6, the hairpin. Lopez looming large in the mirrors. Sieg's podium placed him. It's certainly not. It's not his. He's definitely got to work for it. Lopez looking quick. Last lap was about 0.2 of a second quicker than Jason Sieg. Sieg, a little bit of a mistake through a Dunlop. Now is going to be on the back foot. Tyre temperatures soaring a little bit more than you'd like them to. Through turn 13, 14 and 15. Sieg on the back foot. Jorge Lopez able just to place the car so much more to the outside of the track, carrying more minimum speed through the apex. Has a nice tight line through turn 16, Panasonic corner, gets a nice run out onto the straight, and I can't believe it, Tim. We have about 3 laps of racing to go. Oh, and there's a spin in the background. That's Rob Bower. Oh, and that's Jamie Byrne.
It's happened again. History repeating itself. And where the tyres are starting to fade away a bit here now in Fuji, it's catching drivers out and becoming more like a bumper car race. Missing the front nose there is Rob Bohr. So this is on board with Jamie Byrne. So Rob going for an overtake. And loses it on the entrance. Then Byrne loses it, trying to make a correction to go around it. As all while they were Bohr was trying to get away his way around the. That's becoming a mobile chicane that is Sergio Macias. Of course, that floor damage incurred early on is still hampering him massively. The Sieg coming under a bit of pressure from Lopez. He's quietly going away about his business, Seb. We're on that 23 out of 26. This one's going down to the wire between these two. Last place on the podium.
Yeah, I was just looking at the gaps because, I was trying to work out, where Jorge Lopez is quicker than Jason Sieg, and it just seems to be around a 1/10 of a second every sector, and that's sort of the worst possible case for Jason Sieg at the moment. It's not like he can use his strength to, to keep ahead. He can push a little bit more in the sector where it might be a little bit quicker. Jorge just has more pace, more grip, more everything at the moment, and even a little bit of a better picture on the SDK overlay software. Number 7 car trying to make it up into 3rd place. Jason Sieg into turn 1. And again, Lopez just able to open up the corner just slightly more. Takes more minimum speed. Sieg cutting the corner just a little bit closer, just not wanting, maybe not able to take as much minimum speed through the apex. Of course, when you try and go quicker through the corner, you ask a lot more of the tyres, especially of the rear tyres where, of course, you've got that lump of V8 engine behind you. So it indicates to me that Sieg has a little bit of a problem with the rear end, maybe not as comfortable as he might quite like with his car. We ride on board now with Lopez as we head through 300R towards the Dunlop chicane. Forces Sieg to go to the defensive on the inside. Lopez now just can't really find a way through the chicane. He's going to have to do it all on the straight, I think. And it's a matter of who's managed to save their DRS uses, and Lopez has been relatively quiet in this race, Tim. He hasn't been involved in too many battles, which would indicate, again, to me that he has more DRS uses. Sieg, once again, running wide, getting so close to those curves. And, Lopez just happy just to run in any part of the track that Jason Sieg doesn't even want to touch. And, it might seem like, Lopez took the slow line through the final corner, but he is in the slipstream.
So I think you're right, because Sig did not use a DRS there, and with 2 laps remaining, they were in a prime position. And there you go, Lopez is using his, and he has breezed past Sig, and now onto the podium in spectacular fashion. We've got 2 laps remaining. Samborski leads from Alcron. Lopez now onto the podium position. Jason Sieg down into 4th and out of the standings in terms of being on the podium. Keen in 5th, Crespo 6th, Byrne. That is James Byrne at 4 places. Joint highest place position gainer with Lopez, Miguel Crespo, and Dennis Cornu. The Frenchman currently in 9th, and Sergio Macias, despite having damage for what feels like the entirety of the race, somehow he's still 8th. It's everyone falling off around him. It's managed to allow him to keep going and be where he is, but he's got to take those opportunities when they are presented to you. James Byrne just actually making it past Dennis Cornu, that for 9th place. Rob Ball 11th. Ben Holko falling to the back of the grid. He is in 12th. Shane Lambert 13th, and Omar Baha's inside the car. 4 laps to go now. There's your leader, Samborski. White flag flies here at Fuji. 1 lap left to go. 1 more tour. 16 corners. 2.8 miles. That's 4.5 kilometers in length. Kilometer of that is the start-finish straight alone. Samborski just needs to bring this home. But if you know Eddie Samborski, like we do, we've seen him so many times here at Apex Racing TV, he'll be pushing in every step of the way. That battle for third still ongoing between Lopez and Sieg. There is a long run down the start-finish line, so you get the feeling that's going to go right down to the wire between those two. Only 4 attempts separating them. Samborski, a little bit of a lock-up there. But not long left now through 14 and 15 and 16. Panasonic corner, and he's out onto the start-finish straight. And he is going to take the checkered flag here at Fuji. And Samborski is going to take the victory for the first ever Formula Renault 3.5 race at this circuit. Congratulations to you. Alacron in 2nd, but looking in the background there, they're going to fight right to the line, but I think Lopez is just about going to hold on to this one. Yes, Sieg does not have a reply, did not save up enough of his DRSs, and he's going to have himself a 4th, Keen 5th. It's just looking, he set a new personal best on the last lap, and looking back through, wow. Eddie Samborski, final lap, 124.92, Seb. To put it in perspective, the next closest, fastest lap is going to go to Marcus Alacron, who finished in 2nd with a 125.6. He was 7 tenths quicker than the next driver.
I mean, it's almost unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, you know, Samborski is the master of the Formula 3.5 machinery. He can just do what seems impossible, and I'm sure if you're Marcus Alacron, you must be looking at the timing sheets going 7 tenths. How do you find 7 tenths? And yeah, just like we were saying, Eddie Samborski, you know, could have just cruised across the line. He was comfortably in the lead, but no, he had to get the fastest lap at the final lap and do it in some style into the 24s, which is certainly going to be a personal achievement for him as we have race results for round 3 of the Formula 3.5 Championship.
We do indeed, and for the first ever race here in Formula Renault 3.5 at the Fuji Motor Speedway, it is Eddie Samborski, the American, taking the victory in what is his 3rd Grand Chelem of the season from 3 races. So that is for qualifying on pole, fastest lap of the race, leading every lap and taking the victory. A complete clean sweep here for him. Marcus Alacron in 2nd, and Jorge Lopez running at your podium. 2 Iberians on the podium there. Great stuff to see. Jason Sieg Fortunately, he burnt through all of his DRSs early on and did not have anything to respond to Jorge Lopez. Otherwise, it could have been him on the podium. In the end, crosses the line 9 tenths of a second. Doesn't really tell the full truth as to how close those two were. Morgan Keane finishes in 5th. Miguel Crespo in 6th. He's at 4 places. Likewise, Jace Byrne behind him in 7th. He's at 4 places as well. Sergio Macias. Wow, what can we say? After being almost like a mobile chicane at times. Nobody could get around him, though, in the twisty parts. Well, they were falling off, trying to do so. And in doing so, he finishes in 8th, where many people may well have pitted for damage. Great stuff there from the Iberian. Jamie Byrne in 9th. Dennis Cornu up into 10th, up 3 places. And then we've got Rob Ball, who finishes on the lead lap, and the last driver to do so in 11th, Ben Holko and Shane Lambert, 1 lap down each. Neymar Baja finishes 5 laps down because he retired the car on lap 21. But let's have a chat to some of our drivers. And first up, we're going to have a chat to, well,
Or 4.
What can we say? I said during the results, Eddie, it's your 3rd, not only race victory in a row this season, but your 3rd Grand Chelem. So that is qualifying on pole, fastest lap of the race, leading every lap, and taking the victory. Now, Jim Clark has the highest number of Grand Chelems to his name. He had 8 through his career. You've racked at 3 this season. Fancy trying to beat that, his total, in just this one season alone in Formula Renault 3.5?
Oh man, I don't want to talk about it. That's when all the bad things start happening. We'll just see what happens.
Definitely. I don't want to put the curse of the commentator onto you at all, but, well, brand new circuit, first time racing it, hit on iRacing, obviously. We've only had it on the surface for 3 weeks. How does the Formula Renault 3.5 drive around here?
It's actually a lot tougher than you would think. On the final lap, I made an error and overdrove that. I think it's turn 5 at the bottom of the hill. And I was on for an absolutely wicked fast lap time, but I mean, one little itty bitty mistake, and it was like 3 tenths was gone, probably. I mean, I don't know, it might be more, but I always personally enjoy the technical Japanese style circuits, and this is especially modern. I like it here. I really do. It's a proper challenge every lap. You cannot daydream, think about something else. I mean, nearly every corner has its own unique technicality to it, is the best way to put it, and I enjoy it. It's good fun.
Well, you say you lost nearly 2 or 3 tenths on that fastest lap attempt on the final lap. Well, you still managed to get fastest lap of the race with that lap. They only drove into the 124s, and the next closest rival in terms of fastest lap was 7 tenths behind you. So that was absolutely electric pace that you were on for there, and quite frightening at the same time. I imagine as seasons go by, that gap should start to close up a little bit. Just looking ahead to next week, a little bit similar sort of vein. It's Monza.
Oh, Monza. Draft Battles 101. That will probably be a very exciting race into turn 1. I never liked turn 1 at Monza. And competition should be a lot closer, with obviously the track's a giant straightaway with a couple chicanes in between. So there's plenty of room to keep up. I mean, I'll run this up. I've always run. We'll see if I need to tweak it based on any weather changes, and I'll just put the time in and, hope for the best.
Definitely. We'll look forward to seeing you next week. And then at Monza, that's Ali Samborski, your victor here today at Fuji. Seb, I understand you're standing by with Marcos Alacron, who picked up 2nd place here today at Fuji.
Good evening, Marcos. Welcome to the commentary box. Started in 4th, ended up in 2nd. Great race from your side. Talk us through it.
Hi, good night. Yeah, it was, the race was good. I started good, and fortunately, I was able to overtake Sergio and Jason. From that point, I was focused on don't make mistakes, keep the pace up, and it works. It's a nice track, and yeah, I enjoy it.
I mean, it certainly looked like you're enjoying it out there. You mentioned that you managed to make it past the two cars up ahead, and you did that quite early on. Was that your plan? Did you feel like you needed to get it done early and have the rest of the race to build the gap, or were you okay with sort of waiting a little bit and just got lucky that you managed to get past them so quick?
Well, I don't know. There isn't a plan, but for sure, I will try to stay in front. The staying behind a car in this track is tough because of the dirty air. So I try to stay in front and wait until they fight or something. But it works, so I'm happy. And let me congrats to Eddie and Jason for the race, for the podium. An awesome pace.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying that Samborski's pace, it was 7/10 quicker than the next fastest lap, which happened to be you. So, there's a pace gap there. Do you think that you can sort of close it down? Do you sort of understand where, Eddie's a little bit quicker than you, or is it just a little bit everywhere?
No way. I don't know where is the shortcut, but he's extremely fast here and everywhere, by the way. But yeah, here he was very strong today.
He was, but you so as well. So we head to Monza in 1 week's time, quite similar to this circuit, just without all the fiddly bits in the middle. Does that style of circuit suit your driving style? Do you expect yourself to be up on the podium again, or do you think it's going to be a little bit more challenging for yourself in 1 week's time?
Monza is a track that I love. I enjoy a lot there because I like the chicanes and the parabolic are amazing. I used to be fast there, but unfortunately next week I won't be here because I have a summer meeting with friends. So probably I won't be here.
Oh, well, that's a shame because, yeah, it's always, gutting when you miss the race that you're most looking forward to. But that does sound a lot of fun. So I hope you enjoy that, and we'll see you back very soon in the Formula 3.5 Championship. But before we let you go and celebrate your amazing second place tonight, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to at all on the broadcast?
Yeah, my team, Muscat Devils, the people who has been spotting me, and my family.
Well, that's a really nice sentiment. Well, once again, congratulations on your second place, and have fun with your friends next week. And we'll see you very soon, and I'm sure you'll be back on the podium. Thank you very much for taking the time to have a chat with us in the commentary box, Marcos.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for the broadcast. See ya.
Thank you very much. And Tim, I think you're standing by with Jason Sieg. Just missed out on the podium, but he must have some very interesting tale to tell from an amazing Fuji race.
Definitely. Jason, welcome along. So close to that third place. Obviously, Jorge Lopez just pipping you to the post there. It seemed to be from where we were sitting in the commentary booth, like you utilised your DRSs much earlier in the race, and then when it came to those last stages, you left a little bit defenceless.
Yeah, nothing left in the tank, in the DRS tank there. So yeah, I could see him activating. So yeah, I thought he might have had a couple more as well. So
in terms of that sort of that battle that you were having between yourself, Marcos, Jorge, obviously earlier on as well with Sergio too, it looked like a really fraught affair, really tight, and I mean the slipstream just so powerful, especially with DRS as well. Down this long start finish straight where you were able to even make up 2 places at times, let alone the usual 1.
yeah, I think Sergio was just a bit unlucky there. I think he got those yellow Twinkie and went airborne. So I think side pod damage, and so that sort of made it a bit easier. But yeah, the draft down the straight was very strong. So yeah, if you had DRS, it was pretty easy to overtake.
And before we let you go, Jason, anyone you want to give a shout out to at all?
Yeah, just the DFR guys. Thank you very much. Great setup again this week.
Yeah, lots of fun to drive out here, and also be at such a new track as well. Yeah, everyone at Apex Racing, everyone in the 3.5 community, and thanks to you guys. Have a good week.
Likewise, at all. That's Jason Seek, who picked up a 4th place here today. That's the inaugural Formula A 3.5 race at Fuji. Well, Seb, it's time to turn the lights out on round 3 of the championship. We knew we'd have a bit of drama. Only 14 drivers due to the way the splits worked this week. However, as we saw at Imola with a smaller grid, didn't mean we were left wanting when it came to action.
Oh, certainly not. I don't think there's ever been a Formula 3.5 race where we've been wanting for some action. Always great racing. The cars really lend themselves to really good side-by-side racing, and with the limited DRS uses as well, it adds another layer of strategy in that you don't necessarily get with the newer Formula 3 or Formula 4 cars. So absolutely amazing car, amazing series, and an amazing track. And as we've been saying, we're moving on to Monza in 1 week's time. The very almost polar opposite of this circuit. The only thing it really shares in common is its long straight, but gone are the high downforce wings, and on are the low downforce, almost sleds on the rear wings. Going to be such an intriguing race, and we might even see Eddie Samborski being challenged at the front if he struggles to get away. If he, assuming if he gets on pole, but if he struggles to get away and has to stay within that sort of second, that slipstream range, we could really be in with a battle all the way down the field. So certainly one not to miss, and I cannot wait for 1 week's time when we get to see who can master the Monza circuit.
Well, I'm sure he can utilise maybe something like SDK Gaming to understand where he's gaining and losing time against his competitors with the most accurate live timing software available for iRacing. But, well, what can we say? Fuji, brand new to iRacing. It didn't bring any necessarily new challenges. It brought drama, it brought excitement in its absolute bagfuls here of what's just become an average day in Formula of Renault 3.5 Championship. I've been Tim Cox with Sebastian Bosch-Williams, John Robertson in the production booth, and we'll see you in a week's time. We're live from Monza.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.